2. This team still sucks. And the Pittsburgh Penguins have lost to the Montreal Canadiens at home.
Probably.
Oh, these...
Yeah.
And it was a Colin White game-winning goal, too. After the day after they put him on waivers, Colin White scores the game-winning goal for the Canadiens with under 45 seconds to go. Wow, this... Who's getting fired? Fire somebody.
It needs to happen at this point. I mean...
Just kidding. We actually don't know the result of this game still. It is Thursday, February 22nd. We got a guest again. It's been a minute in studio. We have the county tax assessor lead guru and former UPG sports announcer Camdon Porterfield.
Hey guys, how you doing?
How you doing, man?
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I mean, it's been a while. Cody and I have been talking about it for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, he told me a couple weeks ago. I was like, oh, let's go.
yeah,
It's been awesome.
absolutely.
Yeah, because I saw your Facebook post remembering when you what you were doing at UPG. So explain to the folks and to us what exactly you were doing for the University of Pittsburgh at Greensburg.
Yeah, needless to say, UPG was not my first choice whatsoever. Really, this story, I'll try to keep it brief, but it kind of goes back to the Hempfield days, really. I was, at the time, on the newspaper staff for 4 years at Hempfield, did yearbook, that sort of stuff. Wound up becoming the copy editor, eventually the editor-in-chief, chairman of the board, the whole nine. And we, as you probably remember from the Hempfield days, we had a pretty legitimate newspaper operation going. Columbia Scholastic Press Association award-winning newspaper. I mean, it was pretty good. But we had a advisor. They're not really called teachers up there for those special electives. They're called advisors. But Denise Valerio, wonderful woman. She pulled me aside. She was kind of like a second mom at the time, and she said, Cam, I know that you really want to go into journalism. I know you really want to do this newspaper thing. It's a passion of yours. But media is moving into the digital age. The newspaper, the carbon copy newspaper is dying out at an alarming rate. And I'm just afraid that your talents aren't going to be on display. So, you should really look into the digital media side of things. And, at the time, I said, I don't really know about that, because newspapers are always around, right? And I was 18, pretty naive and not really thinking about, I thought about my future, but I just always thought that that's what it was going to be. Get a scholarship to Robert Morris University to do newspaper journalism things, and I was just kind of going through everything and realized that the scholarship wasn't going to cover everything. It wasn't going to do, the room and board and all that fun stuff. So I just kind of decided, I'm going to stay close to home. I'm going to do, whatever I can, core classes, at Pitt Greensburg or wherever. Wound up getting a grant to go to Pitt Greensburg, so that's the route that I took. Originally, they put me under English writing because they didn't even have a journalism program or anything like that. So started out my career at Pitt Greensburg as an English major, really. And then it was, I want to say October, November, sometime in that range of 2010, I got a email by accident from a Dr. John Prowitz, who was the head of communications department at Pitt Greensburg. And it was a total accident. It was only supposed to go to upperclassmen, but it went to an underclassman for whatever reason. And it was for a sports broadcasting internship where you could actually get paid to go and commentate on UPG sports games. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of different. And, being a Mike Lang fan, for example, I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot. Maybe D, or, well, at the time we called her D or V, Mrs. Valerio, you know, maybe she's onto something. So that's when I really kind of decided that that's the route that I wanted to go. Really kind of got addicted to it right off the bat. It was actually women's volleyball of all things, but it hooked for me, and from there, I think total we did like 150 games, whether it was volleyball, basketball, baseball, softball. It really kind of took off. It kind of had a life of its own. Out of that, it spawned Pitt Greensburg Media by my junior year. At that time, we had like 3 or 4 people that were really a part of Pitt Greensburg Media, but we wound up turning it into a rather large conglomerate. We were doing documentary films, filmed the concert at Pitt Greensburg, Chances Are High, opening for May Day Parade. You know, like just all sorts of fun stuff. Did the documentary in Honduras, as I'm sure you guys probably heard about, through the UPMC Shoulder to Shoulder program. And I mean, it was a really cool thing, and it's what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. You know, if we get into you know, some finer details, you'll find out why I'm no longer in that life. But you know, I was doing documentary filmmaking and broadcasting pretty much up until about 2017. So yeah, I mean, that's really in a nutshell what got me into that and got the program started at Pitt Greensburg.
Nice. That's a lot of passion, man.
Yeah.
Way to grow that and to turn nothing into something. Something, you know, that's continue to build and gives these students an opportunity to actually learn about a field that's going to kind of be around with this, like you said, with this digital media.
Right.
Paper's still around though, and
Surprisingly, yeah.
well, one's still around. Some, and then the second one's still struggling to stay above the water there.
And even pay its people, and you know, try to get the people to even come back.
What's a shame though is the paper doesn't have like really very many good stories, or like there's no one that makes me flock to the paper anymore.
Right.
I mean, there's a couple of guys that like do a good job, and I think they report on the game well, but there's no investigative journalism really going on in your local paper anymore.
It's all on television, really.
Which, speaking of the investigative journalism, or it's, you know, you find it digitally now. The
Yeah.
Athletic posted an article about the Pirates and Bob Nutting's ownership, and well, pretty much doing exactly everything we thought that he was doing. Now, did you get a chance to check that out at all?
No, but I saw a couple of screenshots, and it's as bad as we thought. Back when Neil Huntington was the president, GM, whatever he was, they were asking for a new practice facility down in Bradenton because it's the same one that's been there since 1923. And Bob Nutting said that it was going to have to come out of baseball operations money, which was like, you know, payroll for the players, like all that, like staffing, all that fun stuff. So if that's just if that's from one little snippet, I'm sure it's as bad as we thought.
Well, and that doesn't really shock me. The little foray into that from personal experience, we had an Assessors Association conference up at Seven Springs, and this is back when Nutting owned it. He actually, from what we can tell anyway, in talking with the management up there, he had actually pulled $20 million of salary, $25 million of salary out of the players' budget and spent it on a new air conditioning system for Seven Springs. And the reason that I know that it came directly from that budget, because that wasn't verbatim out of the mouths of the people there, but the way that I knew that is we had traded away, I can't even remember who it was, but it was like 2 or 3 players, and their total salaries matched up pretty nicely with the HVAC system that was going in up at Seven Springs. So that doesn't surprise me at all.
And enough to probably line his pocket a little bit further too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, you got
Definitely a little money
So, of
laundering,
course, in response to this today, the Pittsburgh Pirates signed Mitch Keller to an extension.
They're going to trade him.
5 years,
They'll trade him.
$77.5 million.
How long before they do trade him?
I'd give it 2 years. It's probably a very
That long?
backloaded deal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it really depends on how everything else pans out for the team, but you know, I'm not honestly on the Mitch Keller bandwagon. It's been what? I mean, he had one decent year. I mean, the wheels kind of fell off at the end of last year. His ERA was still up over 4. I mean, I know that the market in MLB is insane, so you're going to see these larger deals come out and you're like, oh, is that person really worth it? But, you know, I don't know. I just haven't seen enough from Mitch. He's always had the stuff, but, you know, can the Pirates actually keep a hold of that, you know, get him honed in? You know, you see these other pitchers go away. Garrett Cole, you know, had some control issues and he always had the stuff, but he couldn't rein it in. And then he goes to Houston and he's in the Cy Young conversation.
And winning World Series.
And winning World Series. You know, Charlie Morton is another one.
To the Astros.
The Astros.
So many great.
Tyler Glasnow.
Yep.
It's all the same deal.
There's a very consistent theme with that team for absolute certain, but definitely felt like a very PR, public relations move there, and yeah.
I'm looking at the article now. It wouldn't load for me yesterday for whatever reason, but it says that the $8 million that Neil Huntington was asking for to upgrade the spring training facility was drawn out over time from the Major League payroll. Like, are we really shocked though? I mean,
No.
Not
yeah. Yeah.
Not even a little bit.
Have either of you met Bob Nutting?
Nope.
No.
No.
I'm
heard
okay
of,
with not meeting.
I've heard of people that have met Bob Nutting, and he's introduced himself to a room full of people by going, "Hi, I'm Bob Nutting. Hi, I'm Bob Nutting.
The
Hi,
Pirates-
I'm Bob Nutting."
Pirates had 76 wins this past season, 2023. That is the 14 wins better than last season, but still their 5th consecutive losing season.
We're used to losing seasons.
Right.
It was my entire childhood was losing seasons.
Right.
Yeah.
I was
Exactly.
born in 1992, and I couldn't process anything. And when I could, everything was bad. So
Yeah.
I remember being stoked to see the likes of Rob Makoviak and Greg Wilson
And Rob McCoviak.
and Rob Makoviak.
Yeah. Ryan Giles was pretty good there for a while.
Bronson Arroyo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Bronson Arroyo. He went on to play in like a World Series too or something.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
another one, I think, right?
Yeah.
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 And that's Pirates talk.
Well, I didn't get to finish reading this whole article.
There's a lot, so you can find it from the Mr. Author of the Athletic article that bashes the Pirates. So let's go on into the Penguins here, because we are primarily a Penguins-based podcast. Cam, would you like to announce a call of Colin White scoring the game-winning goal for Montreal against the Penguins? You can kind of visualize it however you want. I'd pull up Colin White's career highlights, but I don't think that video exists on YouTube.
Nah, you know, I think it would probably be something along the lines of it's a tie game, right? And the Penguins have it in their end, or in the offensive zone, and Gino gives up a turnover, and you know, here comes Colin White streaming down by himself. So, you know, I guess I can kind of make something up here on the fly.
Here we go. All right. Pretend that these teams are the Penguins and Montreal Canadiens, and you can have at it from there.
Okay. Let's see.
We'll say the Canadiens are Slavkovsky and Suzuki.
See, I didn't even see what happened there. Hold on, I got to go back on this one. Okay. Slavkovsky shoots it into the zone, and a wraparound from Colin White with 5 seconds left in the game. Are you kidding me? Off the turnover from Evgeny Malkin, and it's 3-2 Montreal.
All right.
I don't know.
I threw you on the spot there. I kind of made that up.
Yeah.
Might do that as a segment.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe a segment idea.
Could be.
So Penguins are playing Montreal. We clearly already don't like the chances. Because to recap the past week, it was a lot of losses. They did look vigilant against the Islanders Tuesday night.
Well,
In coming back, but
yeah,
that was about it.
That was well after I turned it off.
Jaromir Jagr was a great comeback story too. Having him in the city, that was a great time. Having his number retired, but the game was shit. 2-1 loss to Los Angeles.
Yeah, just watching him skate around in person, I mean, he just still floats on his skates. There's just this aura about him being out there. And honestly, the shot looked pretty good too. I would have probably rather seen him slot in the lineup again instead of, pretty much any of our other bottom six forwards outside of Lars Eller.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, let's sign him. I mean, he still technically can be signed. He's not retired yet. So.
Yeah, but it would sink the clad now.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think that he can go along with that.
The ship's already going down, so.
There's no need for him to revisit the X Generation Penguins.
Let's do it.
He's already
Bring it on,
seen one
Jaromir.
crappy version of the Penguins. He doesn't
He's
need
playing
a
for
second.
Kladno in the Czech Republic. Why not play in the NHL? Why not try to close in on, like, I don't know, what's the next record he can get?
Because someone like Nick Cousins will intentionally hurt him, and then they'll not suspend him.
Yeah, if he wasn't so tied to that Kladno team, man, I think he'd probably consider it.
Yeah.
Because it was his dad's team and the whole
Exactly,
nine, and,
yeah.
If it wasn't like a family thing, he'd probably just say bug off.
Okay,
Yeah.
So maybe we have some life with Noah Chari back in the lineup. You think?
Let's hope. I mean, I think that'll bring a little bit of energy back to the bottom of six. Because I mean, what did Colin White, right?
Colin White, who's now a Montreal Canadian after being
What did
placed
he
on
bring?
waivers.
What did Regime Zahorna bring when he was up?
Redeem Zahorna brought being big.
Jeff
was it.
Carter and Lars Eller have been our best bottom six guys, and
It's not even.
It's good. I like that from Lars Eller, but Jeff Carter.
Yeah, but could you imagine where this team would be with a healthy Matt Nieto?
The exact same spot that they're in.
Yeah. Thank you.
They'd
That's the
be-
correct answer.
They would be better on the penalty kill.
Until they blow it somehow.
Great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
we'll still be 0 for 8 on the power play.
So let's just get rid of the special teams coaches at this point.
We gotta clean house in more ways than one.
Yeah.
There's no one
It's-
move that is
right.
gonna save this.
It just needs to be burnt to the ground. So let's get fired up for it. Let's look forward to
Tonight?
fuck tonight. We're gonna lose. Sunday. We are playing Philly Sunday.
We are going to get that win.
Totally.
Maybe.
Because they're not 11 points ahead of us.
They are exactly 11 points ahead of us. That is a fact.
Yeah.
So they are going to probably. Now I want to get fired up for it, even though everybody's. That'll be.
I think we'll probably actually beat them.
Because we're all counting them out. It always seems
Yeah.
like whenever we start bashing this team very severely, that's when they start doing their best.
I feel
so
like-
maybe a second week in a row of bashing them might turn it around. Didn't work last week.
Couturier's back in the lineup, right?
I do believe.
Yeah,
I
he's
feel like
good.
this is going to be something Ryan Graves is just going to like. There's going to be some sort of hit that's borderline cheap. I feel like on Couturier, and then Couturier is going to go back out with an injury. I don't know. I just see something coming. I can see something coming. I don't like to do this, but
As long as it doesn't go to overtime, because we suck at that too.
well, I
I really
mean,
don't like 3-on-3 overtime.
why
They're too slow.
start Lars Eller and Riley Smith in overtime though?
Out of spite.
I
Change
mean-
it up. I don't know.
Out of spite.
Just to change it up. I mean, it's been so bad.
I mean, yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
And then you had Sid and Letang just kind of looking at each other last night while who was it? Pellick walked right down
yeah.
like Center Avenue and just like
yeah,
sniped.
just like, yeah.
Like, be a little aggressive, guys. I know you're old and your fucking legs hurt, but Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of are pro athletes.
And then it doesn't get any better after that, because then they go to Vancouver to play one of the better teams somehow in the league in the Canucks.
They're young and fast.
Do we want GMJR back?
No.
Bring him back.
What about Phil?
Bring back Craig Patrick. Just
Hey, let's do it.
Ended already.
We technically did bring back Craig Patrick.
Yeah, that's true.
For
He
a
did
day.
come back.
For a day.
Be a GM for a day.
Ivan Halinka is coach. Actually, I think he's dead.
I think he's been dead for a little bit.
Yeah, Kevin Constantine is still around, I'm pretty sure.
Ooh, there we go.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking. Listen, Scotty Bowman's still living. Let's bring him back.
I think Michelle Terry.
He can do it all. No, bring
He's
Scotty
still-
back. Scotty can be GM, coach, owner.
That would be I think that would be the one hire that I could actually get really stoked about for a head coach if we somehow brought in Scotty Bowman.
out of retirement.
Remember when we had him in '92? We won a cup.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the older players need an older voice to get motivated. Right?
Yeah,
You don't know.
gotta get hard on him.
Yep.
All right, so we expect maybe 2 points in this stretch because we're gonna totally beat the Flyers. We're super confident in it after everything we just said. Obviously.
Oh, it's happening. I think we're gonna beat Philly.
Yeah.
Philly, and we're gonna get to next week, or are we gonna talk about that next week?
We'll talk about that next week because there's going to be a lot of things to talk about because probably we might experience a trade. At this point, I would really hope to. I really want to talk about a trade because I have to talk about a trade. I have to go back to my Facebook memories where I was stoked about the Matt Niskanen, James Neal trade for Alex Goligoski. So
Yeah, that was a good one.
that was a good trade.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ray Shiro. At least he would make a trade. It might not be that was a good trade.
That one was, yes.
Granted, I'm pretty sure I used to think all the trades that we made were gonna win us cups.
Except the ones that Hextall made.
Yeah.
Those were Mikael Granlund. That one was an instant bad trade.
It's so funny. He goes to San Jose and he's actually doing half
pretty
these.
good,
Yeah. And at some point you have to wonder, okay, you look at Jared McCann too. He was on the outs with us. He goes to Seattle and he's tearing it up again. So you're like, okay, is it a system problem too? I mean, is this something we got to look into?
I think that probably is something that they have to do because
I
they've been playing the exact same game since 2017.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it
worked good. It worked back then.
Yeah.
It'll work 7 years later too. Nothing ever changes.
No.
Except everything changes.
Yeah. That's a good song by Stained.
Girls.
As done by Creed.
I was gonna say, yeah, that was the stage, but okay. I'm looking at the roster right now. There's I don't even see any trade candidates on this roster.
The only one is injured.
Smith.
Jake
I
Guentzel.
heard, well, yeah.
So apparently we'll correct ourselves from last week. It does sound like you can trade players that are on injured reserve. It sounds like.
Oh,
so
okay.
it might not work in fantasy hockey leagues, but it does work in the NHL, which I just learned over this last week.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're in the spot where basically the mid-2010s Detroit Red Wings were, where they had, these older star players that are still hanging on for a couple more years, but they're past their expiration date. You got, a couple of young guys, but they're hit and miss. You got really no assets down in the minor leagues to do anything with. There's no pipeline to speak of. So just take a look at basically the Red Wings from 2013 on, and you can pretty much see the trajectory of where the Penguins are headed.
Yeah, I was gonna say Chicago Blackhawks. I mean,
Yeah.
until they got Bedard,
Yeah.
and not even still.
I like the Detroit Red Wings reference
Right.
though, because that team really did try very hard to sustain a long period of continuing to go to the playoffs because they were going from 1987 on.
Yeah.
And and that lasted until like about what 2013 or so.
Yeah, they had like 20 years of
Yeah, I would
sustained.
say somewhere
I
around
think
there.
that's almost
yeah.
pushing 30.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy,
Mhm.
and it's very hard to do that in this league. That's something that's been proven as this team just continues to face their challenges day in and day out. So yeah, this is going to be ugly, and hey, we're going to probably experience Jake Gensel getting moved too. Like if he doesn't get moved, then it's probably a bad decision. That's the real facts about it.
At this point, yeah. I mean,
The only thing you can hope for is that for him to like come back and sign a contract on the cheap, but like I don't know if you really want.
why would
do
he
that.
want to do that?
Yeah,
I
he's
mean,
gotta go get
28, 29. He wants to get paid. He wants to try to actually compete still. I don't take him as the kind of guy that's okay with being on a team on the outside consistently.
So where do we think are some trade candidates for him to go to? If we had to take a guess, because I've seen the internet running wild with Edmonton and Colorado.
Yeah.
Some other Western teams mostly.
I mean, I think with Nichushkin still out, I think Colorado would probably make a pretty good push for him, because we don't know when he's coming back. I know from a fantasy perspective, at least, he was really pitching in good there for a while.
Right.
They probably missed that production up top.
I feel like he plays a very similar game actually to that. They could probably slide him right into that role that Nichushkin was playing, like on the power play and everything.
Yeah.
And fit right in.
Right.
It could be a very lethal. And I can root for that because then there's some good defensive team. Like they got some good young players that they could probably part with.
Yeah.
I don't think that they would give up Bo Byram, but
I don't think so.
that'd be
Not for Jake Gensel.
that's a optimistic dream right there.
Yeah. Because I mean, they have Cale Makar, but other than that, their next youngest defenseman is
Probably like Sam
Sam
Girard.
Girard. Yeah, he's my age, 27, 28. So I mean, not old, but I feel like he's been kind of injury prone. So I just feel like maybe you have a Brian Dumoulin situation there with. He has a little bit more offense, but I don't know. But I was thinking maybe like LA or Winnipeg. I don't know. I'm trying to think of somebody that's like above us in the standings, which isn't going to be hard.
It's getting
But
easier to find teams above us in the standings.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Yeah, I mean, take your pick, but I mean, who's really going to be willing to give it up? I mean.
What if Edmonton gives up Broberg? Is that his name? That young
That
defenseman?
defenseman?
Yeah.
Or the one that's playing the NHL. I don't think Broberg played much here. Or are you thinking of Evan Bouchard?
They're definitely not Evan
Okay.
Bouchard. They're
I
definitely
just
not
wanted to make
giving-
sure,
They're
yeah.
definitely not giving up Evan Bouchard. That'd be like me
yeah,
asking
they
if Colorado would give up Cale Makar.
Right. Yeah, they might. I don't know though. I don't even know who LA would really be able to give up.
They kind of traded all their
All
players
their
to Winnipeg.
players, yeah.
You almost want like that kind of trade that like LA gave for Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Yeah, right.
Roster player, younger prospect that's kind of on the teetering edge, and Gabe Velarde. So they got Alex Iafallo from LA, Gabe Velarde. Both are in the in the Winnipeg lineup now, and picks.
Yeah.
And those are the things we need: younger players and picks. And
That's just it.
it can be any younger player and pick.
I mean, at this point, I keep saying it, but at this point, yeah, I mean,
Just to bring in change.
we're already on the outside looking in significantly. So, I mean, it
Might as well.
It doesn't.
Might as well try and get that top 10 protected pick, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we are way more than just one move away from being okay again.
Yeah.
So,
Even just a first round playoff team, I think, but
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
it's not good.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, I mean, just really the perfect storm of this year has been unbelievable, really. I mean, like, everybody regressing at the same time. The people that we've picked up, the Riley Smiths, the Eric Carlsons, not really living up to that full expectation. And again, just the playing style is not changed, or if it has changed, these players are so ingrained in that they might do well. Like in the case of that Winnipeg game where they shut out Winnipeg, like, okay,
Right,
great,
yeah.
like, we're looking good. And then the next couple of games, we just fall right back into that hole again. It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, right?
Yeah.
As the saying goes, and really that is A1. The biggest Penguins issue right now is that they can't get out of the past.
I will say in one of our preview episodes where we went very negative on everything to try and just present the worst case scenario for everybody, we did mention, and it was something Jaromir Jagr even said too, these players on the power play just all respect each other so much that they don't want to step on each other's toes, and somebody needs to be the alpha dog in that mix and shoot the puck, fire it on net. And maybe you're going to piss off a teammate or two for not passing, but we cannot continue to watch this pissing around at the puck at the perimeter.
Too many of the same type of players.
Every
I
episode
just
we've
feel
talked
like
about this.
it's like almost like a coaching kind of a thing at this point, though. I really do, because like these are the players that are just going to like they do their own thing, but they're also in a situation like that they're going to follow. I feel like the structure that a coach has set up, and when the coach is still stuck in 2009 to 2017, I mean, it's hard for them to, like you were saying, to adapt to what it should be today. And
Plus, there's 7 years of footage out there for all these younger
Yeah.
kids that have been growing up and
I would
watching
say
and
it's-
idolizing these
exactly.
players. They know how to
it's
stop
very
it. They
easy
know
to
what's
play
coming.
against. Yeah.
They've been thinking like, oh, I this is how I would stop Sid. I'd throw the stick out here, or this is how I'd stop Malkin. These kids are definitely thinking it.
And there definitely is a thing such as having too many cooks in the kitchen, as it were, right? Too many of the
Right.
same type of player, too many offensive players where that they're all playing the same way, they have the same mentality, and like you said, Cody, no one wants to really step on anyone's toes or anything like that. Really, there needs to be a balance, and there's just no balance. I honestly think that the second power play unit has more balance, because you see someone like a Lars Eller go into the net. You see, Jeff Carter, for all of his warts, and I am definitely not a Jeff Carter stan anymore. But somebody who doesn't mind taking the body, standing in front of the net, creating some traffic. There's none of that on that first power play. It's perimeter play, like we said. So.
Yeah, you need that kind of like Patrick Hornquist type of player, but I mean, where do you find that today? I mean, unless you have it in your system.
We haven't had a
Drafted.
Patrick Hornquist player since Patrick Hornquist.
Right.
And ironically, probably the most Patrick Hornquist players, probably Jeff Carter or Lars Eller.
Right.
Either of those two are probably your most Patrick Hornquist-like players. Not ideal.
Yeah, that is sad, actually.
Yeah. I mean, people aren't even willing to really throw the body around on this team.
Not really. Outside of Noel Chari.
Yeah. Right. And
just like the old days too, where like these young guys, our captains and leaders, our core group was young. They were a little bit hot-headed, and you wanted somebody to stand up and kind of like, be a little bit more of a badass,
right.
and like, take some names. And, not to be preaching the grit crowd, bring Ryan Reeves in again type of crowd, but you got to have somebody who's going to come in and defend it that's not Sidney Crosby. Like whenever like a big hit happens that you don't like, or Florida shoots a goal and puck into your net after the whistle, like you got to have somebody who's going to take exception to this stuff.
You gotta have that Christoph Olewald kind of player.
Yeah, and you know who's been that probably this season? Marcus Pettersson.
yeah. Right. Marcus Pettersson.
Who's not that player.
Sid.
He's not Christoph Olewald.
Yeah. Sid, and I mean, we've seen it from Noel Chari, but I mean, when Noel Chari is in, he's playing 8 minutes a night. I don't think he's seen more than maybe 10 minutes, but I mean, I don't know. You need, again, you need like a Tom Wilson, Patrick Hornquist. You need those kinds of players, and for the last number of drafts, we haven't found anybody like that. I mean, like you just said, it's been since Patrick Hornquist that we've had somebody like that, and
Maybe we can do it with Sam Poulin if we start giving him the Tom Wilson diet of making him drink his own pee on the bench instead of water.
That's true.
Dave K's gonna love that.
Yeah.
I don't have much beyond that.
That's usually the segment of the show where then we try and change the topics around.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
So speaking of Cam and you and some other presences of reasons why you're here,
Okay.
you also were the commissioner of the Camo Hockey League, which was directed by, which was done at the high school as well
Oh yeah.
back in 2010.
Oh, how could I forget? Oh man, I that kind of goes back to 2009.
So just for the listeners too, real quick, that it was played on the old tennis courts, which are now destroyed. It's now just a field.
So it's just a giant parking lot. Yeah.
And these tennis courts were very damaged and broken in a lot of different places. So it needed to be destroyed, but we decided, well, you,
Before it got
Camden,
destroyed.
decided, hey, let's get all sorts of kids to run around on this unsafe place and level each other.
And not just run, wheel.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
You were also a member.
Yes.
Unsafely, I would say.
Yeah, and there were some people who tried to use, rollerblades too, and they found out very quickly that hitting a rut in that tennis court was not a good plan in rollerblades. Yeah, just wonderful stuff. But really, that started back in 2009. I have to give a shout out to Dick Pilato, who was a part of our journalism group, and he wanted to create a pickup deck hockey league back in our junior year. So he got it together. We had a couple of teams, and I really loved the idea. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to bring it back for a second year. But I Dick Pilato was no longer around. He had graduated. I'm like, well, I can't use his name. I guess I'll just call it the Camo Hockey League, whatever. So CHL it was. And yeah, we had an interesting run there for sure. Some interesting characters in that league. Probably a lot of things that should have resulted in people going to the hospital and didn't. Yeah, I mean, there's so many stories about it. I don't even know where to begin on that one.
People going to the hospital and because they needed to. Well, there is also that too. I remember that.
Do you remember who R.J. Thomas leveled behind the net?
Yeah, I don't even want to mention his name. Though.
Oh, okay.
that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Okay, yeah, that was yeah. I mean, he was one of the biggest guys in the league for sure, and I mean, he played with reckless abandon, kind of a Tom Wilson style.
Also a football player.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, he was the WPIAL. He was one of the leading rushers or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
he was a big guy.
Yeah, he was a tank.
Yeah. And the way he took a slap shot too, it was like a golf swing.
I stopped him a few times when I played that.
I have a comment about that actually when we get to our Remember When segment.
All right.
Hey. I don't know where we at. Are we?
I mean, you could do.
You want to?
It's
up to
a
you.
little bit. Yeah. No, did you work up us up or Remember When today?
I got one, yeah.
Yeah.
But do we want to let Cam go first?
No. You introduced the
All
Remember
right.
When segment.
All right, so-
It's always fun whenever you start giggling about it.
Yeah.
All right. Where did it go?
Oh.
Oh, I guess Cam is gonna have to go. What the hell?
All right. Do you remember when?
I thought you were gonna have a song queued up for
Oh, that's Cody's own song.
this.
They used to say.
Okay, there we go.
All right, you found it. Okay, good. For you.
Yeah, I thought it was much lower on this list than it was.
Okay.
Are you good?
Yeah, bro.
Okay, I barely heard it. So, all right. Do you remember when, in 1965, American comic actress stabbed her ex-husband to death? Faye DeWitt. I don't necessarily know who that is, but she was an actress.
Ah,
Stabbed
I remember her.
husband to death with a letter opener.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it in the which room was it in? Sounds like a game of Clue.
I don't know. It doesn't say. It does say. It does.
Stabbed with
Maybe
the mail letter.
in the
Pick a card.
in the.
Ballroom.
All right, that works. I was gonna say something with a B as well, so that works. Close enough.
Room full of balls.
That can work. If that's what she was into, maybe she would like it. I don't know.
All right, I gotta remember when.
Go for it.
As I watched a Netflix special on the Boston Marathon bombing. Did you actually remember that there was a shootout like a couple of days later in Watertown with them? Like,
Yeah, with the one, yeah.
yeah, well, they were both there, and then they had like bombs that they were throwing at the cops.
Mm-hmm.
That is explosive news.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
explosive news 11 years later. But yeah, I guess it is explosive. And yeah, I just didn't even like. I knew that they found the one in the boat, and I remember that it coming to an end. I don't remember hearing about the big old shootout with all the cops, and it just kind of kept like lingering around.
Yeah, if I heard that, I very quickly forgot it because
Yeah.
that doesn't seem familiar to me.
I mean, it might have been a Netflix dramatization, whatever the fucking word is.
That's right. That's a good
That
word.
was, yeah.
But
got it.
but then I looked it up and it said it was there. At least that's what Wikipedia says. Someone might have edited it, but
No, that never happens on Wikipedia.
What?
never. That's totally the truest source of all information, right? But yeah, it was funny though. There's just this one cop guy on the show, and he was fucking hysterical. He's just like, "Oh, I was ready to go ahead and blast this dude," and I was getting like, it's basically as Boston as it gets. I can't do a Boston accent, so I made him Yinzer, but that's
It's more relatable to the show.
Yeah,
Anyway.
exactly.
yeah, exactly.
Fits
So
there.
it just felt like it's somebody we would see down at down
Pansanat.
down the street. Oh, and at Pansanat. Any of these officers. So yeah, I did not remember that. So you guys did not either. So
No.
cool.
No.
All right. So what we got here for?
Let's do it.
Remember
Let's hear
when,
it.
Cam?
Oh God. Okay. So I don't really know how I can follow up someone stabbing their husband to death
Yeah.
and throwing bombs and stuff. But circling back to the CHL, I got a little story about. It actually involves Cody a little bit. So circling completely back. So the very beginning of the season, we hold a draft. Just to kind of set the tone here, I think I had the second pick in the draft or something like that, and Dylan Marginari, former Hershey Bear, he gets picked first overall by the Chick-fil-A-Shios or whatever they were called, right? Which was a no-brainer because he was super good. I decide that I'm going to go the route of making my team an absolute menace to society, right? Because we were called the Maulers, and I just wanted to F shit up for absolute sure. So I decide that I'm going to draft this kid named James Rico. Now, Rico used to be in various hockey leagues and things, and he actually got thrown out of a hockey league for too many penalty minutes. I think he played 3 games and he racked up close to 100 penalty minutes in 3 games because he just kept fighting people, and I mean there were game misconducts everywhere. So anyway, I'm like, that's the kind of tone that I want to set for this team. So I get him in there, and then I wound up in a later round I drafted Derek Tchaikovsky. So they were both 2 really good defensemen, but and of course Rico had that wild side to him, so he was always a wild card. We a couple days before the season started, we devised a trick play, and it involved the 3 of us, and so we get to game day, and we're playing. I can't even say it on. We're playing your team. Okay, I'm not going to say the name.
Yeah,
okay?
we probably shouldn't say that
okay.
name. Very tense topics.
Yes, yeah.
That does not age great.
No, it did not.
Definitely
No.
wouldn't know off mic.
Yeah, it's a good name, but it's one that we're not going to mention. But anyway, so we're playing Cody's team. Cody is goaltender, right? And the plan that I had devised with Rico is Derek is going to get the puck and he's going to get it to me on the left wing wall. And I use the term wall loosely because there was no wall there. It was just open, cracked tennis court, right? But stand on the left wing wall. I'll take the pass, get it up to Rico, and then I'm going to follow him in to the goaltender. So this is exactly what happened. Derek gets it in the corner. I yell, play, play, play. Rico takes off. Derek gives me a perfect tape-to-tape pass. I one-time it up to Rico. Rico's streaming toward the goal. Now, the penultimate part of this play was, because there were very few rules in this league, you were allowed to bowl over the goaltender.
Ow.
So Rico comes in and smashes into Mr. Cody Gray, drops the puck back to me, and I sneak it past his pad for the very first goal in Camden Hockey League history. And that's the story.
Oof. Oof.
I didn't know
Do
that.
you remember that?
I didn't know that running the goalies was a rule that was allowed. Otherwise, I would have used that more often.
You would just start stiff arming bitches.
I mean, that's. Well, if I would have known that was a rule, so no, I did not remember that was a rule, and I did not remember that because I probably was also concussed from that.
You were not happy because I did the OV leap and everything too. Like I was a bit of a douchebag back then, so that really shouldn't surprise anybody. But yeah, that was that. But I was thinking about the CHL days the other day, and I'm like, wow, I remember like setting up that fantastic play, and it's only a fantastic play if you have absolutely zero rules in your league, which we did. So yeah, but that's my remember one. It doesn't involve killing anybody except Cody's brain cells.
I'm gonna say, just brain cells. We're alright with that around here.
Oh, man. Yeah, that probably explains at least one of like 12 concussions then. Either that or I just blacked out because I was so mad. I just wanted to kill you at that point.
You may have.
Yes. It's all just a yes.
You didn't talk to me for a while. That's for sure. Oops.
Oh well.
You don't run the goalies. Otherwise, I'd have never played net.
That's why we had trouble finding people to play
Yeah,
net.
I could imagine.
Yeah.
Just throw me in net all the time.
Yeah.
Just be like, all right, now hit the goalie, asshole.
I think that's exactly what I did.
I don't remember.
That's exactly what I did. I eventually recruited you because I was like, I need a goalie. It can't be me. In my head, I was like, I don't want to get run over again. I'm going to get a wheelchair. Good luck running that over. Yeah.
Good luck scoring on it, and then it turns out people could. People were pretty good at scoring on person in a wheelchair.
Turns out it's a pretty easy 5-hole that the wheelchair creates.
Well, I tried to turn sideways so that way you couldn't shoot through the wheel.
Except then you could shoot through the two wheels.
Well, but I have pretty mobile legs. They work a lot for somebody that's in a wheelchair.
Didn't you wind up getting Victor Nichols at some point, or was that a different team?
No, I did. I did end up getting Victor.
I forgot about that name.
Yeah. Well, and there was no trucking that guy. Oh my goodness, what a tank as well.
Yeah, he's a good time.
Yeah.
That old Big Vic. He might listen to the show. I don't know.
Hey, Vic.
What's up, buddy?
If you do.
You know where I think, well, other than like Tyler's wedding, you know where I'd like to see Victor Nichols at? It's our favorite place to get a fish sandwich at, of course.
Badge's Bar.
Yeah. Oh. So I made a video kind of just boasting about the fish sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
I go to Badge's. I go to
That one.
on Friday night for a fish sandwich because had a hankering.
They are great.
That Christian feeling. I don't know. I was baptized, so that probably gives me a reason to like fish a good bit more.
It's the feel of the mercury pulsing through your veins.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
So I did that, and I talked about the fish sandwich, and I said it's got 3 inches of fish like sticking out of either side of the bread,
They do.
and it comes out of the kitchen. It looks exactly as I described it,
Piping hot.
and piping hot and
Yep.
delicious,
Oh my God, yeah.
and it can only be found at Actually, there's probably a lot of places you can find a
sure you
fish
can find
sandwich.
it, yeah.
Yeah, SMPJ's is actually pretty good too, but yeah, Badges, for me anyway, Badges is the number one. I mean, it's really, really good.
Yeah, see, it's two people that have said this, not just me.
I take your word for it. I have to get down there for one.
I don't get paid anything to say that either. I just say that out of love. I like to, in the video, I described the fish sandwich, and you know, probably like most of these people are doing ad reads with like actual pieces of paper. I'm just going from the heart.
Yeah.
All of this is just from the heart. We don't think about any of this.
And
We
the
just
stomach.
Spew things out. The stomach. The stomach needs what it needs.
Yep, that's it.
And you can always find what you need to eat that.
Including trash cans.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a liquid diet.
There is that.
I don't recommend a purely liquid diet.
Yeah, no. That's a terrible idea.
Not at our age.
Yeah, we'll fall apart real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is an episode.
Yeah?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yes, sir.
So, Nev,
What's up?
what's up? How you doing?
I'm doing great. I was trying to find a big one to go out on, but I haven't found any good ones, so I got some work to do over the next week.
Okay. You didn't use Rob Ramage and Puck Dope.
I know. Did she the trip?
Trim missed him too.
I know. Like as soon as I saw you use them, I was like, oh, son of a bitch.
I haven't used Plug Doke in 2 months.
Today's the first time in like a month and a half that I've done Puckdoku.
I get it every. I
mean,
try to look for Rob Ramage.
Every
and then I
once in a
throw
while
him
I
in
do
there.
it. I saw today with Sidney Crosby teammate.
If
I was like, all right, I can do that one pretty easily.
If I can't find Rob Ramage in like 3 seconds, then I'm pretty much out.
So much Ramage.
I got happy with the Tyler Kennedy one though.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always nice. There's old pig nose buddy of ours. Think he come on the show?
Probably not now since you just called him Pig Nose.
You could edit
Knows
that
it.
He doesn't do any editing.
out.
He knows it.
Doesn't mean I'm sure he doesn't want to hear it.
We could use a player like Pete TK.
We could.
We could use a player like Mike Zigomanis.
No, because that means Craig Adams as well, which means going like 75 games without a goal.
Yeah. Also,
And we pretty much have that already.
I was going to say Jeff Carter can still take a mean face-off, and he provides just about as much offense as Mike Zigomanis did. So we already pretty much got him.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do have our Mike. All right, check mark. Mike Zigomanis on the team. Jeff Carter. Got it.
Who literally can't skate, but it's fine.
I don't think Mike Zigomanis could either.
Yeah, he can skate to the bench after he took the draw. He was good at that.
From the defensive zone, though.
Correct.
You wouldn't.
Never in the offense.
Yeah. Second period, nope. You're long change, no.
Yep.
You're standing on the bench all period, bud.
So who all have we said that they could use today? Christoph Oliwa.
I think they could use Konstantin Koltsov, too.
I think Konstantin Koltsov would kind of fit right into this current team of disappointing offensive players.
Perfect. Let's bring it.
Look
All
at the booty.
Luka Booty. He scored a goal in his first shot in his first shift.
And then he went back down to the A, and that was it.
Hey, he helped us land Martin Skula.
Somehow he's still in the league.
Who?
Isn't he still in the league?
Really?
Martin Skula.
I
No,
feel
there's
like
no
he's-
way.
I feel like he's in St. Louis still.
Really? He'd be like 43.
No, you're thinking of Marco Scandella.
Scandella, okay.
Not,
Close.
not
Yeah.
Martin Skula.
That's the first syllable and the last one.
He's pulling a Chelios and playing to 48.
Just let it happen. It's all right.
Yeah.
It'll be Sid.
Yeah, well, he's an alien. I mean, he's the only one who can stay.
Cam, I do have a politics question for you.
Oh, no.
So-
Ready for this?
I
So-
made the same reaction.
Nevin, I always like to ask Nevin, like, if we ever want to talk about Democrats being evil, and he usually says no.
I usually just say, all right, well, it's been a good show, and then
But I want to ask
Take
you,
my headphones off.
how come Republicans promise what the common man wants and then never give anything to the common man?
Listen.
Is that actually like in the Republican guidelines?
Well, listen, as the chairman of the Westmoreland County Young Republicans, I do not condone that statement. However, I will say that overall, politics in this country is definitely broken. It's so divisive right now, and it really has been, my God, since 2015, 2016. And even before that, people who didn't like Obama and all of that, there's people who just didn't even give him a chance, from the get-go. And, I look at politics today, and it just seems like no matter what people do, no matter what people say, particularly the candidates, the lines are drawn so definitively. There's very few people who are in the middle. I like to consider myself an open thinker in that way, and I pray that we don't have a repeat of 2020. I think that election was ridiculous, and the people who were running were ridiculous, and I'm really hoping that we don't have the same two candidates going into November. But it is what it is. There's so much, honestly, at the local level and at the state level that affects you more on a day-to-day basis, and that's what I like to try to focus on.
Yeah, agreed. It's a good thing. This is why I rip on both sides, Nevin. See, I'm not just always calling the Democrats evil.
I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying, I don't do politics like that. I just keep them to myself. Nobody needs to know.
Well, okay. Well, it provided some content, didn't
It did.
But no, I do agree that.
Luckily for you, Cam, or I guess luckily for us, Cam was on this side. I couldn't just leave her. That might have gotten us more views.
I have control of the door over here. You can't
get the wheelchair past.
Yeah, he's got his wheels locked in over here. You can't see it on the camera up there, but he's not gonna get in.
We have him bolted to the floor.
We'll be here all week, guys. Every podcast coming from the local studio, you'll see me on.
Send DoorDash.
I will say too, Jordan, who does run the studio, he did a little thing with Project 18 I saw too. So
Yeah.
we were talking about the local politics and stuff, so
Yeah.
I did want to give that a little quick shout out too, because that is still a good, important class that should be. It's the one important class that Hempfield actually had available to us. Well, there's probably some other ones too, but that was like the only one I thought.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and it still remains fantastic. You have a lot of the younger generation nowadays that just does not know anything about civics, local politics, national politics. They'd rather kind of stick their head in the sand, or I guess in a phone. And that class just really kind of opens up a lot of horizons for people, young people, impressionable people, people of voting age, just coming into their 18th year. So yeah, Ken Stout does a tremendous job up there, and can't give enough props to him.
Straight facts. All right, so that'll pretty much wrap us up there before I start asking too many tinfoil hat questions.
That's for next time.
We might as well we gotta find another guest and just get a full tinfoil hat episode going. I mean, why not at this point?
Yeah, let's see what kind of conspiracies live in Nevin's mind. Ooh, actually. Yeah.
I actually found a good thing on Hulu about the Skinwalker Ranch. So
There's some weird shit that goes on there for sure.
yeah, I don't know if you've seen it, but if you have Hulu, I would definitely check it out. It's very good. I'm only like 3 episodes in, but wild shit.
After D goes to sleep at night, that's what I'll put on.
There you go. Love it.
All right, so recap. Penguins we think are going to suck.
Gonna lose tonight.
And
I actually don't think that. I think they will win tonight.
okay,
That makes one of us.
Yeah, I do. We'll see.
all right.
Until the first half of the first period's over, then I'll text you and tell you I changed my mind.
Yep. Bob nutting exactly as we expect.
Yep, didn't expect anything different.
Followed up by exactly what we expected, a PR move on their number 1 starting pitcher to lock him in for the long haul.
But what about Paul Skeens? Is he a number 1 pitcher for them now?
Why not have
I
two
would
number
hope.
one pitchers?
I would hope that he is, because yeah, I don't want Kevin Correa 2.0, aka Mitch Keller.
Who are we talking? Who are we kidding? Paul Skeens is gonna make like as soon as his rookie contract's up, he's gonna go sign for Steven Strasburg money.
Oh yeah.
Oh, why not?
And,
I would.
And we remembered when. So
We did.
we remembered when on a lot of things. So all right. This is YinzCenter.
Attempted murder in the hockey league, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is YinzCenter, and as always, Lego parents. Let's make it through the pain, parents. Lego parents. I'm gonna be really hurt when we trade Jenkins.
We'll save sad times for those sad times.
Yeah, not yet. Lego parents.
Pets.
Well, that was fun.